Great good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Tuesday, November 25, year of our Lord 20 and 25. My Cordaro Jeweler's watch tells me it's 9:10 on the dot. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting today from the United States of America. I can prove it because we have an administration and a Congress working every day to put Americans first. It's the place where the brave, like the veterans we will salute today, like Charles Coyne Fattori, Scranton, Alexander Savinsky, Sawyersville, Charles Kaler, Bloomsburg, and Joseph Larish, Mackinac. We lost them this year, but we'll pay tribute to them today, thanks to our man John Basiliga, focusing on one of his great companies, Serenity Care. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible founding fathers, that the government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our salvation, our direction, not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right, granted to each individual by God. It was not something that could be parceled out to groups. It was not something that could be controlled by government or government officials, because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, no matter what they do with it. They're free. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. Well, this Bob Cordaro show, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, with that essential preamble dealt with, we can gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world where elected representatives, former veterans of this country's military and intelligence apparatus, can call for insurrection because they're Democrats and they don't like Donald Trump. We really have gone to such an insane level where idiot Hillary Clinton, the hag, could call out, wouldn't it be great if Donald Trump just wasn't there anymore? It's really a remarkable thing. It's a frightening thing what this Democrat Party has become, what their leadership is. And we got a lot of rank and file Democrats following along. We elected an incompetent for governor of New Jersey, a woman who literally did not know how she made $7 million in stock trades while she was in the U.S. Congress. Wow. And Virginia elected a governor, a woman who feels like men and boys should compete with girls and young women in sports and be in their locker rooms and bathrooms. That's who got elected governor of Virginia, the great Commonwealth of Virginia, formerly great. And we have Barack Obama campaigning for this boob. The guy now who 12 months ago said, Hey, you're black. You got to vote for the sister. And he campaigned against a black woman who was running for governor as a Republican. Their phoniness, the lies, the just insane mean that they've taken on the whole agenda. It's absolute craziness. We played that ditty on socialism because it's sadly true. You look at the vast majority, well, certainly look at the leadership of the Democrat Party. And you've got nobody who's ever created a job. They wouldn't have a clue how to do it. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. It's really insane. And their policies, I love it. They created inflation. They know it. With the massive spending policies, the Green New Deal policies of the Obama administration. And they're blaming Trump for prices that he's bringing down. And getting away with it because of the media. Do you know that something like 58% of people surveyed thought the gas prices had gone up? This is how bad the media biases, this is how bad the lies from the left and the Democrat Party are. But just want to mention Kramer on Instagram was the guy who did the socialism ditty about Mamdani and the rest of them. And then you heard Barack Obama. That's something we're going to play constantly. The lies told. And everything was exactly the opposite because of Obamacare. The biggest failure in healthcare ever. It has cost all of us thousands and thousands of dollars a year. Your deductibles have gone up. Your premiums have gone up. Your copays have gone up. Tripled because of Obamacare. Because of government's increased involvement in health insurance and healthcare. It's just crazy. And they'll ask for more. Oh no, we want a single payer system. We want the government to do it all. We want to ruin it totally. That's their sole education. Name the area. Name the area that the government's involved in. And tell me it hasn't gotten worse. Somebody texted in, Bob, if you think it's so bad that the media is lying, then why do you say in the beginning of your show that's okay? Because it's their freedom to lie. It's their freedom to be biased. That's what freedom is. Now, sometimes I will add, but I don't think I need to add it. We're smart enough to know the difference. God hope we are. Well, some people are not paying close enough attention. Especially the people who think the gas prices have gone up. Just think of that. They think that gas prices have gone up under Trump. Egg prices have more than halved, and they thought they have gone up. Because you have a whole class of people and a whole class of haters who tell you that things are horrible. Things are awful. Oh my God, the world's going to end. Democracy's going to end. Oh, by the way, just so you know, we did not have an election in November. Just so you're aware of it. Some of you may have gotten voted, but don't be fooled. Democracy ended when Trump was elected. It's over. It is over. It's done. How many times could they lie to us? And some of the same people won't tell you, pretend that they're telling you the truth. It's insane. The people who cause problems tell you they have the solution, and that the people who are trying to fix things are the bad guys. Crazy. Joe from Trip Spark, I can't name another government program that did the exact opposite of what they promised would happen and be as big of a failure as Obamacare. I believe it's the biggest government blunder in modern times. It is, because it's the largest invasion into a pretty important area, particularly with the population aging. Why do you think there's this explosion in healthcare companies? Both their size and their consolidation. That's another byproduct, by the way, because only big companies could deal with the nightmare of billing, regulations, false standards that the government requires. Waiting for your money. They screwed the whole thing up. Quite amazing. Again, I said it yesterday. It's worth saying every day. Anything the government gets involved in at any level becomes worse. Any proposals, any laws, anything they try to accomplish makes things through the government, by the way, because we have normal problem solvers in there now. But anything we try to do through the government makes it worse. It becomes a failure, and then we have unintended consequences. And we have to swallow it while they lie and say, well, let us do more. We'll fix it. Yeah, the same people who broke it. I get it. All right, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Sam Cooke, number one R&B hit. This date, 1957, Murph tells us. You Send Me. And, of course, before that, this date in 1783, the British evacuated New York during the Revolutionary War. A tactical retreat, I guess you'd call it. Well, we're going to have Rick Bigelow. He'll be on today at 10 o'clock. And in the 11 o'clock hour, we're going to have Elon Bentov. He's the writer, producer, and director of Free to Speak, Is America in Retreat? The Price of Peace. It's basically the true cost of defense. The human and financial cost of keeping the U.S. and its allies safe. And we'll talk about all of that. Of the current 18 million vets, one of the facts that comes out, 5 million are disabled. It's the third installment of his series. And we'll talk to him in the 11 o'clock hour. Jimmy from Harvey's Lake texts in. He says, ALTS. ALTS back at you, Jimmy. My primary care doctor told me the staff he needs to navigate the paperwork in healthcare is now larger than the staff that provides actual care to patients. Right? It's insane. Absolutely insane. Somebody says, are you advocating for no government? Well, I hope you will listen when we open the program. And what I say every day, the country was founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible founding fathers. That government is not our parent, our guide, our salvation, our direction, not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. It's a necessary evil. So I'm not advocating no government, obviously. Everything they get involved, let's look at the Defense Department. We talked about this yesterday. $900 billion a year between, actually, it's $1 trillion a year between the Defense Department and the intelligence services, and we get nothing but failure. And the way we've won battles historically, this is part of the human condition. The way we've won battles is colonel and below have overcome the mistakes that have been made by the higher-ups and the bureaucracy. That's how we've won wars. That's how we've won battles. So it's just, again, show me something really crazy. Somebody takes it, Bob, the reason the insurance industry loves Obamacare is because they are now in bed with the government. They get a blank check in the form of Obama subsidies. The insurance companies love it. Of course they do. It guarantees a profit. They don't have to battle it out with hospitals and healthcare providers and drug companies to find the true price of a drug or a piece of equipment or a service. The government tells them the price, they tap on a profit, and it's done. Morning, Bob, LTS. My girlfriend is a nurse practitioner overseeing a nursing home. She spends about 2 to 3 hours a day seeing patients. The rest is all notes, paperwork, and charting. Seems like a very inefficient system, but what do I know? I'm just an electrician, says the electrician. It's crazy. Our healthcare is moving sideways at a time when scientific advancement is lurching forward at light speed. But the quality of the healthcare is going sideways. It's really odd. And yet we there's people that just vote for it over and over and over again. And they believe the lies over and over and over again. Well, I guess Charlie Brown believed Lucy was going to hold the football so he could kick it. Here we are, 70 years later? He's still missing the ball because she pulls it away just as he goes to kick it. He lands on his butt. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back with our Veterans Tribute. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our friend John Basiliga. Today featuring one of his great companies, Serenity Care, the gold standard for senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania. 4 locations: Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Dementia care units at Mid-Valley and Kingston locations. All 4 of these facilities have been completely renovated, inside and out, accepting new residents. John has a passion for providing the highest quality senior care in the area and beautiful personal care homes for seniors to live in. You will love them. Charles Coyne Fattori. He passed away November 15th at age 102. He was from Scranton. He was preceded in death by the love of his life, Ann Fattori, in 2020. whom he was married to for 64 cherished years. Born March 17th, 1923, Sassoferrato, Provincia de Ancona, Le Marche, Italy. He was a lifelong member of St. Lucy's Church in Scranton. His early years were shaped by the struggles of the Great Depression, where he learned the value of hard work and resourcefulness. He aided his father in his beer business. He went on to work as a paper boy, shipyard welder. At the age of 18, he joined the Navy, where he served 4 years, third-class coxswain in the Aleutian Islands during World War II. After his service, he returned to Scranton to work at the Lackawanna Pants Factory. He retired from Chamberlain Manufacturing, where he worked as a tool and cutter grinder. Charles always put family first. His motto was, "We can do it together." He was beyond proud of building his house alongside his brother-in-law, Louis. He cultivated a pristine garden enjoyed by both family and friends for decades. The customers in his wife's home's hair salon, they had the pleasure of bringing home vegetables, hearing the daily news, or laughing at his countless jokes. As a centenarian, he remained active and healthy well into his hundreds, staying in his own home thanks to his adoring and devoted daughter, Karen, who served as his caretaker. His grandson, Tom, maintained the upkeep in his home. He not only loved life, but he truly enjoyed living every day and was always eager to learn. He's survived by his loving and dedicated daughter, Karen Kern, and husband, Thomas, of Scranton. Granddaughter, grandson, great-grandchildren, and other family members. 102-year-old Charles Coyne Fattori, our veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, cloudy with showers likely. Rain could be heavier by evening. 50 degrees, 45 outside the studio now. Tonight, cloudy and mild with lingering showers. Low temperatures holding around 50. Wednesday, clouds and sun. Mild with a chance of a passing shower, but it'll be 60. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Clouds and breaks of sun, colder, high near 40. What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Are some of you still traveling? Or do you have people coming in? It's, I've told you this yesterday, it's my favorite holiday. Just enjoyable. And I love the whole week. I just love the whole feel of it. You're not running, listen, if you're prone to run around getting yourself in a lather, you could do it. And for the people who have to do the turkey and all the stuffing and the preparations, well, if you don't divide the duties enough, yeah, it could be torture. But as a general rule, and if you think about it the right way and you delegate a little bit, it's a pretty good week, isn't it? So, I don't know. I've just been on this whole thing about the truth and about facts. I mean, you heard the drunken Nancy Pelosi. These are the leaders of the Democrat Party. They can't even speak English if you catch them at the wrong time. Like, what did she have to say? Now, she was an idiot savant. Somebody says, Thanksgiving is fun for you because you don't have to cook and bake and wash the dishes. I can't wait for the day after. Well, you got to delegate these things. I admit I do very little. I pretend that I play football in the morning, and the rest is pure enjoyment. But I mean, don't torture yourself. Delegate a little bit. That's what I'm telling you. I think you could really only have one person make the turkey, can't you? I don't know. Do they still take 6 or 8 hours? I guess they do. But it is a headache if you do all the work. Don't do all the work. Ask them to split it up a little bit. And let's remember, too, as we remind you and that we know from each holiday, this Ozzie and Harriet Norman Rockwell Thanksgiving, not everybody has it. They either don't have family, or maybe they're estranged from family, or maybe they're homeless. I mean, there's so many circumstances. So, and remember also what it's about. It isn't even about the turkey. It's not about the food. It's about being thankful. And I'd start it right off by saying you're thankful to be born in the greatest country this world has ever seen. It gives you myriad opportunities. You got to get a little lucky. Some of us start on second base and third base. Some of us have to struggle all the way, but the opportunities are there. Not the guarantee, the opportunity to be who you are, who you want to be, to succeed. But see, we get tied up too much in material nonsense. I've had money and I've been poor. Well, really not much of a big difference. I've got to tell you, not that big of a difference. It's so what? So you can't do whatever. I don't know. Go to the islands. You don't have a private jet. So what? You don't have a boat, a yacht, whatever. You're not a member of country club. So what? There's so many great things. I mean, sitting and reading a book it's an incalculable value. Somebody says, how many Democrats does it take to cook a turkey? Well, probably, if they're left-wingers, they have someone else do it because they can't do anything. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, Thanksgiving week. We'll be back. 1963, this date. Man, you didn't realize it was only 3 days after the body of President John F. Kennedy laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery. His widow, Jacqueline, lights an eternal flame at the gravesite. We did not know the disaster that was to be Lyndon Johnson, who then took over as president and really started us on a road to destruction and was a lowlife on top of that. But Murph tells us this date, 1968, the Beatles released their White Album. He chose While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I figured that was appropriate, sort of given the solemnity of the history moment. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. Somebody texted in, this is so true. Bob, the proof is in the pudding. Remember before Obamacare, everyone was saying it's going to bankrupt the insurance industry. No, the exact opposite happened. The insurance industry now has both hands in the government cookie jar, and they love it. And they're lobbying for it, and that's the real reason for the government shutdown. Yeah. Obamacare, all about greed, not health care. And it is. You get the government involved in anything. And see, they were the government involvement in Medicaid and Medicare and determining the prices of health care, because they were buying at 25 to 30 cents on the dollar before Obamacare. So they were distorting the prices. In a free economy, they call it capitalism. Well, that's got a negative connotation for a lot of people. Let's call it a free economy. In a free economy, which is what we are, competing interests, that includes consumers, manufacturers, the people who sell these products, the people who distribute these products, they battle to determine a price point that makes sense, that is logical, that creates value for all parties. In the healthcare industry, the government just sets the price. And then we wonder why it's so screwed up. I use that example all the time. Take a full balloon. Squeeze one side of it. That's the government's 30%. Squeeze one part of it. The rest of it expands to the point where it blows up. That's what the government has done to healthcare. Because they are, by a factor of God knows how much, the largest insurance company, the largest payer of insurance bills, of medical bills, rather. And it's a disaster. It always has been. It's been accelerated by Obamacare. It's a massive failure. And by the way, we were the first ones on this show to talk about it during the government shutdown, that this is all about covering up the failure of Obamacare. Because then that would point to other failures. And by the way, Obamacare is very popular with the American people because they don't know any better. They don't want to know any better. They believe the lies. Oh, it's an essential program. The people will die without it. Well, no, they won't. It's really sad. And we've got a media and a political party that just lie. By the way, on a separate subject, Tony T says, my Thanksgiving is more like the movie Home for the Holidays with the kickoff with a tray of pizza. Well, I want turkey and the usuals on Thanksgiving. A lot of Italians eat, they'll have macaroni or ravioli or what. I don't want any of it. I want American food. Turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, that's what I want. Well, my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's time for the news. That means it's 10 o'clock and change. I remind you, guys, it's Christmas. Picardo Jewelers, Raymond Wild, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army, Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Bulova, G-Shock, and of course, the watch I wear, the Picardo Jewelers watch. They tell me the time, and I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest places you could go to Christmas shop. And I'm getting cutie jewelry this year. She asked for something specific, so I'm going to get it at Picardo. I'm looking forward to it. But that's what they do every day. They're there for you. And if you don't have a ton of cash, a ton of money, go see them now. Talk to Alex now and say, what can you do for me on a layaway or financing or whatever? So you got to start a little earlier if you're of modest means, such as myself. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll do the news. We'll come back. We got Rick Bigelow. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be back. Music. Great good morning, everyone. 10:08 a.m. and change on my Bacardo Jewelers watch here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Tuesday, November 25, 2025, Thanksgiving week. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our friend John Basiliga and his great Serenity Care, the gold standard in senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John, like Charles Coyne Fattori, Scranton, Alexander Savinsky, Sawyersville, Charles Kaler, Bloomsburg, and Joseph Larish, Makanakwa. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle, gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for you in a world where an entire political party, all of its leaders, the establishment, globally and here in the United States, has gone insane. And they're trying to take you with them. So we're back. Hey, a couple Navy guy says when we play those clips, it gets distorted when listening via Odyssey. Do you know that, Bulldog, to be the case? All right, just mention it to Bill. Or we'll mention it to our engineer. Thanks, Navy guy. Mother Teresa for November 25th. She says, go out into the world today and love the people you meet. Can't you get direct, correct, and beautiful. Mother Teresa for November 25th. Go out into the world today and love the people you meet, even if you disagree with them. That makes it a little harder, admittedly. By the way, Mary Regina says she got her Christmas card from the White House, signed by the president and Melania. That's nice. Mary and Bobby ran that beautiful festa. And when I was at my cousin Melanie Nero's funeral reception, they told me it was jammed, the festa. So thank you for all of you who listened and went and attended. But, and they said the food was fabulous. 50 pounds of homemade pasti. 50 pounds. Oh, my gosh. It was so a great thing to benefit Providence Pregnancy Center. Great stuff. Hey, we talked to our guy, Rick Bigelow. I'd say, Rick, whenever there is something that's important in history, I want you to come on this show. If you can have the time. It takes a lot of preparation. It takes a lot of work. Rick is a highly credentialed patent attorney. But he's our historian, even more importantly. And today, we're going to talk about Tarawa. We'll find out what all that is. Rick Bigelow, welcome back. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Bob. How are you?
I'm excited. Whenever you are with us, I'm excited because I know I'm going to learn something. I'm going to be reminded of many other things, and that this historical context that is so important to this show will be fulfilled. So thank you. Always great to have you. Talk to me. Tell us about it.
Well, today we're going to talk about Tarawa in 1943. This, of course, is Thanksgiving week, and Thanksgiving week in 1943, 20 or 30,000 Marines, soldiers, sailors, Coast Guardsmen were getting ready to embark on the first part of Admiral Nimitz's island hopping campaign at the Tarawa Atoll. A little bit of background on Tarawa. It's part of the Gilbert Islands. Gilbert Islands had been a British colony since 1892. The islands are about 2,500 miles southwest of Hawaii. So that means they're about 5,000 miles from the west coast and 8,000 miles from the east coast of the United States. So,
and by
really
the way, for listeners, if you can go to WILKnewsRadio.com, we have these maps on the when you press watch, and we have the maps just so you can put it in geographical context.
Right. Good. So it really is out in the middle of nowhere. And the Gilbert Islands are pretty much smack dab right on the equator. So it was going to be hot from sunup to sundown. So Gilbert's had been a British colony since 1892. Japan took the Gilberts on December 9th, 1941, a couple days after Pearl Harbor. They built an airstrip on Tarawa and built a seaplane base on Mackinac Island, which is like 100 miles north of Tarawa. These Japanese air bases threatened the Allied supply routes from the west coast of the U.S. to Australia. So they became a real source of concern for the Allied command. In November of 1943, Thanksgiving week, U.S. forces were ready to begin the Allied island hopping campaign across the Central Pacific in accordance with War Plans Orange and Rainbow 5. These war plans had been developed for the last 20 years, continuously updated, so on and so forth. So Tarawa itself is an atoll. It's, like I said, about 2,500 miles southwest of Honolulu. It consists of about
that's practically cross country. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And 5,000 miles from the coast, that's almost the breadth of the United States twice.
Yeah.
These are
a round trip to Europe.
Oh, yeah, these are remarkable. The scope of what had to be conquered and dealt with is awesome. When you mentioned we're going to have our beautiful Thanksgivings here. Many of us fortunate enough to have a Norman Rockwell Thanksgiving with our families, and here were our boys at that time. Wow.
Yeah, and if they're lucky, they got some K-rats or C-rats or something like that for Thanksgiving. For the assault forces, they generally had steak and eggs the day of the assault, so it wasn't all that bad to start with. So the total area of the Tarawa Atoll is about 12 square miles. The key island is Betio Island, which is Betio. It's only about 2.5, 3 miles long and 700 yards at its widest, and that's where the airstrip was. The other islands in the atoll were only minimally manned with Imperial Japanese Army troops. So the main characteristic of the island was the airstrip, which took about half of Betio Island. So, like I said, it's right on the equator. It's a tropical jungle type of situation. There isn't all that much shade, and there's very little fresh water. And it was scorching hot from sunup to sundown.
And Rick Bigelow, that's obviously a major factor in the logistics of this whole thing. Is you've got to be pumping water to these troops constantly.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, everybody went ashore with at least 2 canteens, and a big part of the logistics exercise was bringing in fresh water and food for the troops and for the Marines. So that the Japanese had fortified southern part of Betio Island, figuring that the Americans couldn't attack the northern side because of the reefs that protected the northern side of the island. So the Japanese constructed pillboxes, concrete bunkers, coconut log stockades, and coconut log seawalls all along the southern part and along the northern part of the of Vecchio Island too. So the Japanese had 14 tanks, 40 artillery pieces, 14 naval guns, and about 4,900 troops, and some 1,200 Korean slave laborers. We thought we'd take Tarawa in one day. We came in with the Fifth Fleet, which was starting to get bigger these days. We had 17 aircraft carriers, 12 battleships, 12 cruisers, 66 destroyers, and about 12,000 Marines of the 2nd Marine Division were going to be the initial assault wave.
Rick Bigelow, so let's take 1943, November 1943. That's almost the height of American manufacturing and military development, right? I mean, we're really at our peak, pumping out ships and planes and munitions.
We are doing a lot, and the key was we could work 24/7 in our factories, and so we were really pumping out all the equipment and the ships and the airplanes that you needed. Of course, some of them were going to Europe, some of them were going to England, and even a significant portion of all kinds of military equipment, and especially oil, was going to the Soviet Union. In fact, I think just about all their aviation gasoline came from the United States. So we truly were the arsenal of democracy at this point in time.
The other countries, enemy, friend and foe alike, had to be saying, how are they doing this?
Yeah,
how is this possible?
That's exactly right. And I think one thing you got to give FDR a lot of credit for, of course, his administration was full of New Dealers who had a visceral disrespect for capitalism and for banks and manufacturing and industry and stuff like that. And initially they said, well, American industry will produce war materials at cost. And FDR said, no, you got to let them make a profit, because if they make a profit, they'll turn it around and increase capacity and pay better wages and all that sort of stuff.
And make better product and develop new weapons and munitions.
Correct. Correct. So you got to give FDR
They're not
a lot
bad
of
for a guy
there.
who inherited his money to know that, right?
Yeah. And, talk about somebody who never really had a job in his life. I guess he worked at a Wall Street law firm for a little bit after Columbia Law School.
His time with the Department of Navy must have really been a formative period.
Yeah, I think so. And, for all intents and purposes, even though he was the Assistant Secretary of the Navy, he ran the Navy Department.
Yeah. Because
the guy who was the Secretary of the Navy, he was a political appointee, and he just specialized in going to Washington parties and all that. FDR really took an interest in the Navy. And when he was Assistant Secretary of the Navy, of course, this was in Wilson's administration, he became very close to a commander named Leahy, who eventually became his top aide and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in World War II. And, people say Harry Hopkins was his closest confidant, but in reality, it was Admiral Leahy who was he was always in FDR's ear.
And his son,
FDR had a lot of respect.
His son, wasn't he Department of the Navy during the Reagan administration?
Admiral Leahy?
Yeah.
I know that was John Leahy. That was a different Leahy.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought they were related.
No, I don't think so. But I thought Admiral Leahy just had a daughter. Okay. That was it. But I'll check on that. That's an interesting question.
I assume these generational things, but anyway. So let's get, because I want to take a break, but I want to hit the neap tide before we do.
So this is a phenomena in tidal work. A neap tide is a tide that occurs just after the first or third quarters of the moon, when there's the least difference between high and low water. And this is important because there was a reef surrounding the landing beaches at Tarawa, and we had to land at high water so that the landing craft could get over the reef. Uh, there, we had done all kinds of studies, and we took counsel from New Zealand ship captains who had been running in and out of Tarawa for years and years about conditions of the reef and the inlet to the lagoon and all that sort of stuff. And it turned out that at the Tarawa landing, it had occurred during a neap tide that coincided with the moon's closest position relative to the Earth, which accentuated the shallowness of the high tide. In other words, the high tide was not very high during this neap tide and closeness of the moon to the Earth. So aviators were flying over the island, and people on the ships were saying, "Is there water over the over
reef.
The reef?" And the aviator said, "Nope, I can see the reef clear as day." So that was a real issue, which we'll talk about, because they had two different types of landing vehicles. One was the amphibious tractors, Amtraks. They could make it over the reef, but the landing craft couldn't. So that was a complication.
Amazing. The logistics just amaze me on any of these assaults.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many of this do we need? Do we have them? Who's manufacturing them? All of those things are just remarkable. All right, Rick Bigelow is our guest. Tarawa Island and the conquest of same is our subject. November 20th, day one, is our next topic. We'll take a break and be back with Rick Bigelow. especially emotional when we talk about these amazing soldiers and Marines in the Pacific in World War II. The Bloomsburg American Legion, carved into stone right out front. It says, "What is a veteran?" And I'll add a little bit to it. A veteran, whether active duty, discharged, retired, or reserve, is someone who at one point in his or her life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America and its people for an amount of up to and including his or her life. That is honor. And there are way too many people in this country today who no longer understand that fact. That's why we talk to Rick Bigelow whenever we can. Alexander Savinsky. He was 94 when he died November 9th. He was from Sayersville. Born in Sayersville, graduated from Sayersville High School. He went on to serve our country in the United States Army. Korea veteran. He worked at the Consolidated Cigar Corporation in West Pittston for many years before starting his career as a machinist at Suburban Publishers in Exeter. Al was a proud veteran and never missed the opportunity to support his fellow veterans. He marched in every Veterans Day parade up until he was 93. Member of the Fraternal Order of Eagles, an avid knife collector and dealer. Hunting, fishing, his Harley when he was young. A quiet and gentle soul with a kind heart. Preceded in death by his beloved wife, Eileen Mirtha Savinsky. Tragically, a grandson, Lamar, a granddaughter, Sheree, and great-grandsons, Xander and Levi. He is survived, however, by his 5 girls, 6 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren. Alexander Savinsky, our great veterans, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care, the gold standard for senior care in northeastern Pennsylvania with Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, and Kingston locations. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, cloudy with showers likely. Rain could be heavier by evening, about 50. I'll have to plan when I take the bulls for a walk. Tonight, cloudy and mild with lingering showers, low temperatures holding around 50. Wednesday, clouds and sun, mild with chance of a passing shower, high 60. Thanksgiving Day, clouds and breaks of sun, colder, high near 40. I'm going to plan my layers for the football game Thursday morning. At 10:34, 50, well, it's 10:35 on the nose on my Bacardo watch. It's 47 degrees outside the studios. We're talking with our man, Rick Bigelow, and Tarawa, Macon Islands. He's with us talking about all of that. So the stage is set, Rick. Tarawa Atoll, landings on Betio Island. Fire away.
Okay, so the way this was happening, the Allied ships would have to stay outside the lagoon, and that would be the transports and also the ships that were carrying all the Marines. So they would drop the Marines into the boats, into the landing craft, and they'd have to go in through the lagoon and then take a right turn and head due south and attack the northern end of Betio Island. So for some of these guys, it was a 5 to 7 mile trip from the transports and the amphibs into the beach. And for many of them, especially those who were in the second and subsequent waves, they were out there bouncing around in the landing craft and the Amtrak for a couple hours. In fact, some of them were there almost half a day, bouncing around in the landing craft. So the initial attack was to attack the north side of Betio Island and then proceed in to take the airfield. And of course, getting the airfield was the whole goal of the operation. So the Second Marine Division attacks Red Beach 1, 2, and 3 at about 9:30 on the first day of November 20th. They are immediately met with stern Japanese opposition. And what I wanted to say was they did a 3 hours of naval bombardment. Of course, they had all kinds of battleships and cruisers and destroyers. And then they stopped after 3 hours, and then an air raid came in and strafed the airfield and strafed the Japanese positions. And then there was another 15 minutes or so of naval bombardment. And everybody figured, well, nobody could survive that. They must all be dead. There won't be anybody alive. Well, that was incorrect. The Japanese had learned to dig in, and unless like a 14-inch battleship shell did a direct hit on a bunker or something like that, they could withstand the naval and the aerial bombardment. So
and these are not smart bombs. These are pretty dumb bombs. They're firing and coming as close as they can.
Yeah, and they weren't bad, but if they hit the beach, they were pretty happy.
Yeah.
So I mean, they got better as the war progressed, but at this point in time, we were still learning. And of course, there was a significant Japanese fleet up in the Marshall Islands, which is about 700 miles north of the Gilberts, and the Japanese commander on Tarawa was expecting the Japanese fleet to sortie south and take on the American fleet. But for some reason, they did not do that. And after about a day, the Japanese commander was told, you guys are on your own.
Oh, my
God. What that presents is a very difficult problem for defending troops, because on an island like this, you can't retreat. If you're on a big land campaign, there's always the possibility to retreat. Here, you're either going to be killed, wounded, or captured. And the way the Japanese code went, that was the worst thing you could do, is be captured. In fact, if you were captured, it brought dishonor on you, your family, and all your ancestors. So the Japanese were going to fight probably to the death, which is something we'd learned on Guadalcanal. And so the troops came ashore expecting light resistance. Some of the Amtraks and all of the landing craft got hung up on the reefs, and so the Marines had to wade ashore, often about 500 yards or so. And of course, the Japanese just picked them off, and hundreds of Marines died on the way into the shore. So many of the Amtraks that made it to the shore couldn't make it past the seawall, which was a wall that we hadn't noticed in all our aerial photography, that was several feet high, and it was made of concrete and coconut logs. So that was another significant barrier. So there was tremendous fighting and a lot of dead and wounded Marines in the first several hours of the assault. Within a few hours, we held a narrow beachhead, and we fortified it and brought more Marines in subsequent waves. And of course, the Japanese counterattacked at night, and the counterattacks were beat back. So that was the first day, which was November 20th. On November 21st, we landed some more Marines on the western side of Beccio Island at Green Beach. And between the Marines that were on Red Beach and the Marines on Green Beach, we expanded the beachhead. We started to push inland, and we headed towards the airstrip. The Japanese continued heavy resistance, and they had a banzai charge at night. So we're making slow but steady progress. By day 3, The Marines took the airstrip. The Japanese were experiencing tremendous casualties and fatalities. The Japanese were pushed to the eastern side of Beshio Island. They knew that they were just about spent. So at nighttime on the third day, there were 3 Japanese nighttime banzai charges. They were repulsed by the Marines, Marine artillery, and also naval bombardment because some of the destroyers actually came into the lagoon and were supporting the Marines with naval bombardment.
Rick, at the time of this engagement, to the extent you know, there had to be incredible respect, if not fear, on both sides. The Americans to the Japanese and how viciously they fought, but the Japanese to the Americans on how brutally they fought and how they were just unstoppable. The word had to be spreading.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. The Japanese were more afraid of the Marines than anybody. In fact, the
devil dogs.
The Japanese propaganda was that the only way to become a U.S. Marine was you had to kill your parents. and so, and that just reinforced their.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be too inspiring. That backfired.
So they would just as soon kill themselves than be killed by a Marine or taken prisoner by a Marine.
Yeah.
But there was, we were especially concerned with Japanese Marines who were called Special Naval Infantry, and there were a lot of them on Beshio Island, and the Japanese were concerned about the U.S. Marines too. Mm. So we get to day 4. The Marines repel a final banzai charge. The Marines declare Beshio is secure and move on to the other islands in the atoll. Like I said, most of the other islands were only minimally manned by the Japanese at that point in time, so it was just an instance of mopping up.
I want to highlight this statistic of the 3,700 Japanese.
Right.
How many were left?
17 survived.
Oh my God!
They were typically wounded, who were too badly wounded to participate in the banzai charge or something like that. They also had 1,200 Korean laborers, slave laborers on the island, and only 129 of them survived. And like I intimated, many Japanese soldiers killed themselves rather than submit to the dishonor of surrender. In the U.S. Casualties, 1,009 Marines were killed in action. 2,100 were wounded in action.
1,009 letters going out to parents in the United States.
That's right. In fact,
week.
One Marine second lieutenant wrote a night before the invasion letter home, and in the letter he said to his wife, "The Marines teach you to be scared, not scared of war, not scared of dying, but scared of letting your fellow Marines down." So that Marine was killed on Beshio Island. So the aftermath, the American public was shocked by the carnage. Since this is the first invasion of a heavily defended island in the mid-Pacific, a lot of correspondents from the media went along, and they wrote their stories and called it as they saw it. In fact, many of the correspondents went ashore on the first day in one of the later waves. So the American public got a pretty good indication of what had happened. This battle told us that defeating the Japanese would not be easy. We also knew that we needed to get better tide and reef information. So they started forming the underwater demolition teams, who are the forerunner of the Navy SEALs. The issues with the Higgins boats, the landing craft, and the amphibious tractors had to be resolved. One of the issues with the Amtraks was in the first instance of the Amtraks, they weren't very heavily armored, and machine gun bullets would penetrate the armor. So they had to up armor them. They had to make them put more guns on them, and just make them more able to withstand counter battery. Future assaults would include several days
and
of
Rick,
naval
you make that
bombardment.
sound simple, but they had to get the steel plating, and they had to have the tools to rivet the steel plating onto these boats, and they had to make sure that it was all the proper balance and all that kind of thing. It wasn't
Yep.
easy to
No.
make the fixes that had to be made.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of it was welding, which means you got to have the welding gases and qualified welders.
Yeah.
And then you had to make sure you didn't put so much weight in it that you couldn't put as many soldiers and equipment into it.
Yeah.
So there was just continual upgrading and testing all during World War II. And the final thing is future assaults would include several days of naval bombardment. In fact, by the time we got to Iwo Jima and Okinawa, it was like a month of naval bombardment before they went ashore. So the second part is the invasion of Mackinac Island, which was by the 27th Infantry Division, which had been a Hawaii National Guard division that had been federalized. The Japanese only had about 800 troops on Mackinac, and of course, the reason we went after that was because there was a seaplane base on there, and the seaplanes were very valuable because they could go for 1,000 miles without needing to be refueled. So they were very valuable for scouting missions. So we had to take them out. One of the in the battle around Makin Island, one of the escort carriers was sunk by a Japanese submarine, killing 644 sailors. The Army lost 66 killed in action on Makin Island. The Japanese lost 400, and once again, very few POWs, and 250 Korean laborers were killed, and 130 were taken prisoner. And frankly, the Koreans were happy to be taken prisoner at this point in time. So we secured the Gilberts, and the next stop was the Marshall Islands.
You had to, and some of the same troops did it after watching and participating in this absolute carnage on Tarawa and Mackinac. Well, Tarawa in particular. Wow.
Right.
Oh, Lord, thank God for the Marines. Well, Rick Bigelow, thank you so much. It wakes me up every time I think about what these men went through and what they did and how great their achievement. We appreciate it.
Thanksgiving week.
Thanksgiving week. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you, Rick. I look forward to your next appearance.
Same to you, Bob.
All right, my man. It is 10:50. That's what it says on my Picardo watch. Strawberry alarm clock. The number one hit, Murph says, this date, 1967, the Incense and Peppermint. Bob Cordaro back on the program known as the Bob Cordaro Show. Not very original, but, I mean, this is what they told me, and, this is what they told me it was going to be called, and I've got to live with that fact. But we're here, nevertheless. I love them, Bigelow, man. That is just, I think of, this was their Thanksgiving week. And many of them didn't come back. Going into the unknown, wow. All right, let's go to Donald from Pittston. Donald, how are you, friend?
Good. Happy Thanksgiving, and I got to tell you right, man, you were right. I got to admit, it proved it. Government and the private sector. Now, what's happening here, the government's preventing the functioning of government. The government now a roadblock for government to function properly because of the subsidies with Obamacare. This is all going to happen again now in January 26, 2026.
Yep.
So they have to at least give the subsidies. I would maybe extend them for 6 months to come with a solution. It's like a horror movie, The Blob. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It ate up the insurance industry and needs more to feed on. It's amazing. The government is getting bigger and bigger. Like you said, you cannot inject that type of government into the private sector. Then it needs that extra money like the insurance industry. It's obvious. What do you think we should do about this problem?
My solution since 1985, believe it or not, I proposed that for people who could not afford, everyone would get private insurance, and it'd be mandated, by the way. You have to have health insurance, just like auto insurance. You have to have it because nobody can predict when they're going to get in an accident or a traumatic illness, whatever. But everyone would have a great insurance plan. They could pick between the companies, and if to the extent the government would determine, the IRS in particular, how much you could afford of a premium, health insurance premium, and then they would either subsidize or pay the whole thing. The government would be out of Medicaid, would be out of Medicare, and private insurance would fight with private providers to determine what the prices should be.
It cross state lines for incentive. We could do that also, like the auto insurance.
Of course. Yes. That's
now, I'm going to add to that. Just let's solve the problem. Instead of people say we're smart guys and they're stupid. All right. You could open up, say, 4 Medicare facilities, right? In each county, 25 beds only. So if the guy don't have to stay in that hospital for $12,000 for the night, maybe it's only going to be $1,200 in a Medicare facility for the night. So
but Donald, here's the reason my solution works, and we are out of time. The reason my solution works is the insurance company won't pay it, and there won't be the government backstop. And the hospital will have to.
I'm going to have to call up with you. I'm going to have some ideas. We're going to start solving problems because they can't do it no more.
Oh, it's solvable.
We got to solve it. You're going to help me. We're going to do it. We're going to put it out there. Everybody listens to your show. I know for a fact that it's on Fox, everything we say.
The government's got to get out of it. They've got to get out.
You're doing a good job. Let's solve the problems before we pass away.
Donald.
All right?
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, Picardo Jewelers. Well, they're not only the premier jeweler, they're the premier watch store. I would say Northeast Pennsylvania, but it's so far beyond that. They've got Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Boulevard, G-Shock, and of course, their own brand, Picardo Jewelers watches. Well, they tell me it's 11:01, which means it's time for the news. We'll be back. We've got another interesting conversation following. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:09 here in the great Northeast this beautiful Tuesday, November 25, year of our Lord 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our friend John Basiliga, featuring one of his great companies, Serenity Care, today, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like Alexander Savinsky, Sayersville, Charles Coyne Fattori, Scranton, Charles Kaler, Bloomsburg, and Joseph Larish, Macanaqua. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle, gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense after that brief news adjournment, promising you that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you for the balance of this hour. So we had a guest. I don't know if we're gonna be able to hook up with him, but guess who called? I don't even know if she knew that we had an opening here. Guess who it is? It's Lorraine. You ready to play the theme song? Because if we don't play the theme song, Bulldog, she won't come on. He's having problems with the theme song. She won't come on without her theme song. You know that. Bulldog is having problems with it. Let's see if she'll take the call. Lorraine.
Bob.
You're not upset. We having a problem with Bulldog's having a problem with the. There it is. Okay. Better late than never. You okay?
Oh, me? I'm never okay, but I'll trudge through.
All right. Well, there's Lorraine. She sent me a message before. I just want you to know.
I knew you were
what we
going to do
go
this.
through with this diva. She said, you said that your grandson wants the bottle for about 5 minutes and then wants something else. He certainly doesn't take after you. You know, this is somebody used the word ad hominem and yesterday, and that's what this is, an ad hominem attack.
You liked it, though. You said, now, that's a good joke.
Yes, it was cute, but I thought it was vicious at the same time.
Oh, bull. Oh.
I thought it was really vicious.
And I got back. I said, well, it wasn't even a joke. And you love that. You love every minute of it because it's not no more vicious than you get. Well,
you said the fact is that it wasn't a joke.
Well, that was after the fact that you said that was a good joke.
All right. Well,
I quote you verbatim.
I just think you should be nicer in Thanksgiving week instead of vicious.
Oh, my gosh. Well, then you better practice what you preach.
Well, my job, part of my job is to be vicious to people who are harming my country on behalf of my fellow Americans. I'm not never vicious with you. I'm always gentle and nice with you.
Lower your voice. It's more like you when you lower, you sound more professional.
Well, I get in a lather. Well, yes, I'm always silent when I listen.
Oh.
That's a habit I have.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. Listen.
Well, Lorraine, you have a poem for us.
No.
What?
I told Johnny, I said, it's not a poem.
What is it?
And no, it's not a joke. No.
What is
Don't
it?
jump to conclusions. This is the second time. You know, you get a prayer via whatever, email or text. So, I told you a long time ago that I also used to write prayers for our healing service at our church, at my church.
Okay.
So I thought, I'm going to read a prayer today. And I used to write the forgiveness prayers, and I used to read them. I have a lot of these prayers. So are you ready? Could I read it?
Yes, please.
It's well, it used to be in the evening, so I'm going to read it like I wrote it. Jesus, we gather this evening to seek your forgiveness for breaking many of the 10 commandments. Let us focus for a moment on the first commandment. Many times we do put strange gods before you, and not golden idols, but idols in the forms of our homes, cars, money, trivial possessions, and even our own family members or friends. Jesus, forgive us for allowing them to take on a life of their own and forgetting that everything we have is a gift from you. In conclusion, Jesus, help us to remember that our earthly possessions are important, but we must never lose sight of our most precious gift, which is you, who will always be with us for all eternity. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Very nice. So, Lorraine, you could expand your bailiwick from poetry to prayer if you so choose.
And a joke in between.
No. There's a complete ban on those. Now, look at the bulldog. You just mentioned the word joke, and the bulldog, I can see him through the window. He's smiling.
Well, at least he's not yelling like you.
Well, between you and the bulldog and Brian Hughes, the three worst joke tellers ever.
Oh, yeah. Well, we are the worst recipient.
Well,
listen, you can't get ahead of me.
Listen.
Even if you try.
Well, we're going to try to get to another call here, Lorraine, but thank you, my darling. And if you do you have a Thanksgiving poem?
No.
Oh, all right. As I was going to say, we'll hear from you tomorrow.
Well, you never know when I'll pop up, but I just did it today in case I didn't pop up tomorrow.
All right. Well, actually, we had a guest who just didn't call in, so.
So I came in on default.
That's right. You were default. Don't get
your fault.
Don't get all high and mighty.
Oh, why not? I deserve it. I deserve love.
Yes, you do.
I deserve love. It's Thanksgiving, and I'm going to be all alone. You think I like that?
No, you don't like that. I know.
I don't like it.
I know.
It hurts. I could cry that quick. You want me to cry? I'll do it.
No. No.
No, seriously. Don't laugh.
We want you to make everybody laugh and feel better.
Yeah, but I need to feel better. I need the love, and so that I don't be. See, I'm going to cry a little. I better not.
All right.
Okay, but I'm serious.
Well, you check in with us tomorrow, okay?
Well, no insults, or I won't call. You better change your attitude, or I'll just call. I'll call the morning show, and they'll laugh at my jokes too.
All right. Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate it always.
Well, in case I don't call, you could tell me Happy Thanksgiving. I have to tell you to tell me.
I'm telling you now, Happy Thanksgiving.
Because I have to tell you to tell me, but Happy Thanksgiving to you.
All right,
which you every day you're, well.
Every day's Thanksgiving for me.
What you do,
every day's Thanksgiving for me.
That's right, and it tugs at my heartstrings.
Yeah. All right, darling. Thank you.
Okay, Fuzzy Wuzzy.
All right, dear. Bye-bye. Let's go to Pat in West Wyoming. Hi, Pat. How are
you?
Hi.
Oh, fine. I have to vent. Bob, I have a thought. I think on Thanksgiving Day, we should give thanks for having Trump as our great president, for keeping us safe by establishing ICE to get these illegal criminal border crossers off our streets, which the Dems think is cool. No, having Biden for 4 years was cruel. The great deal of bringing home the hostages after so long, his great policies and deal makings are just, they're wonderful.
He's doing a really good job.
I thank God for him every day.
Do you know where we were a year ago? Do you know how much worse it would be?
I know.
If not? Unbelievable.
I know.
It's actually frightening to think where we would be with Kamala Harris. It
I
really
know.
is.
I know. And when I hear them criticize everything he does, after what they had in, I never heard them complain about Biden.
Never.
You know what I mean? But he's doing a good job getting these illegals off the street and everything. I just adore the man.
Good. So we've got.
Okay.
So we'll both be thanking. That'll be one of the things I'll be thankful for
Right.
on Thursday.
And you have a blessed holiday.
Thank you so much. I know I will, and I hope you do too.
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks,
Bye.
Pat. Well, two nice notes to take a break on. Bob Cordaro, the eponymous show. Let's hear from our great sponsors. A little music, a little history, and then you at 570-883-0098 to call or to text. the Monkees. Murph says this date, 1967. They moved from number 33 to number 5 with their hit Daydream Believer. Bob Cordaro back. Somebody texted in, where is, I'm going to find this. Oh, it's about our war fighters in World War II. Bob, what a contrast. From the young men that were in war that Thanksgiving week, many of whom never lived long enough to see the age of 24, and the pajama-clad, pierced children that we call a young man today, wandering around our streets aimlessly, playing video games and sucking on vape pens with no ambition and no decency. I would throw in there, because being a lazy person myself, I get that. But the protesting based on lies, the anger that we're not a socialist country because they don't get everything they want without doing anything, man, there's a lot of them, man. I'll tell you. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. So, in any event. Chuck from Carbondale says, Bob, this year when President Trump pardons the Thanksgiving turkeys, it's a federal liberal judge going to reject the president's Trump's pardon. Yeah, Chuck, they just might. One of the trolls texts in, Bob's, I'm curious, do you think Donald Trump is a good human being? Yeah, I actually do. I've said this before a few times, and if you're a true troll or just someone with a similar phone number to a troll, forgive me, because it's worth explaining. I think Donald Trump was a very clever, very smart, but very superficial guy. His whole life. And success and the baubles and the trappings and all that were the most important thing to him. Image, all that. I believe that once he loved his country, though. Now, a lot of it was ego, like, oh, I just might run for president. But once he actually made the step to do so, the support he got from some of the unlikeliest sources, given his life, like evangelical preachers, and then the love that came raining back at him from everyday great American people, I think he not only found God in his own way, but that he loves America and the American people very deeply. All these things developed, however, during his time running for office and when he was in office, and then the support he received when he was out of office. Going through hell. I don't know, how could a billionaire go through hell? Well, he did. Believe me, I've been in trials, all that. Yeah, believe me, he did. And another great thing about Donald Trump, he does not quit. He does not quit. He will not quit. He won't quit on the American people. He won't quit this effort. And who cares? Do I care if it's his ego doing it, driving him? No, I don't. And do I think that he's doing everything he can for the good of the American people? Yes. That's why he's doing so much. So much had to be done. You got to remember, we're coming off 8 years of Obama. We're coming off, before that, a very weak presidency, misdirected presidency under George Bush. And then, of course, the 4 nightmare years of Joe Biden. I was thinking about this today. I'm going, what were these idiots thinking around Joe Biden? Like, there was no sense to it. They were forcing airports to take illegal aliens. They didn't even know what they were going to do with these people and let them flood into the country. Somebody writes, and you actually think Donald Trump is a good human being? God almighty. Well, I just told you why, but apparently when you hear Donald Trump because of your TDS, you just shut off. Please tell me what he's done that's evil. That's what I want to know. You guys call him Hitler. Let me know what he's done that is evil. Please let me know. I've seen nothing but policies intended to maintain and expand America's role in the world for good and to help this country. And I've seen him get religion, again, in his own fashion. And I've seen him become religious in his own fashion. And I've seen him become a much better person. And you don't necessarily have to be all those things to be a great president. But I think he's become all those. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Veterans Tribute, weather, and then we've got some callers I want to get to. We'll be back. Our veterans this hour and every hour, this day and every day, Brought to you by our friend John Basiliga. Today featuring just one of his great companies, Serenity Care. It's a personal care community. It's a senior care community with 4 locations. Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. They offer personal care services, dementia care services, located at their Mid-Valley and Kingston locations. All 4 personal care locations have been completely renovated inside and out, accepting new residents. John believes that he has to provide the highest quality senior care in the area and beautiful personal care homes for seniors to live in. He's committed to it. He has a passion for it, and it's working. It's the gold standard of senior care. Serenity Care. Charles Kaler, veteran, McGee Carpet retiree. He was 88 when we lost him November 19. He was from Bloomsburg. Born in that town, a graduate of Bloomsburg High School. He was a lifelong resident of that town, Bloomsburg. He proudly served this country in the U.S. Army. He worked in the Human Resource Department at the former McGee Carpet Company in Bloomsburg for more than 40 years, retiring in 1999. He was a member of St. Matthew Lutheran Church, Bloomsburg, one of the founders of the Bloomsburg Ambulance Association. He loved hunting. He loved camping. Surviving is his wife, the former Marie Drumheller, with whom he celebrated their 64th wedding anniversary, November 4 of this year. Also surviving, his son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, and a sister. Charles Kaler. Joseph Larish, Navy veteran, loved the outdoors and fishing. He was 81. He lived on Italy Street in Mackinac. We lost him November 17th at the VA Medical Center, Wilkes-Barre. He had a battle with aggressive Alzheimer's and dementia. Born 1944 in Berwick. He was employed, among other places, at the Columbia County Redevelopment Authority, the Berwick Power Plant, and Penn Eastern Engineers. He served this country with honor in the Navy aboard the USS Saratoga. He was a proud member of the Polish Falcons, the American Legion, the VFW. His greatest joys, however, were his family, friends, his love of fishing and all things outdoors. He's survived by his son, 1 brother, 2 sisters. Tragically and sadly, preceded in death by his wife, Bonnie Lee, and 1 daughter, Carrie Jo Larish, Joseph Larish. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, cloudy with showers likely. Rain could be heavier by evening. High 50, 48 outside the studios right now. Tonight, cloudy and mild with lingering showers. Low temperatures holding around 50. Wednesday, clouds and sun. Mild with a chance of a passing shower. 60. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Clouds and breaks of sun. Colder. High near 40. I wonder if that CBS Face the Nation lady has the facts now. Well, she'll just go and pretend she never heard what he said. That's what they do. On Donald Trump, people have the luxury of calling Trump evil, have never stepped foot in the countries he stopped wars in. Think of all the lives that have been saved and ask them if he's evil. Now, I do have a problem with the way he has made Jeff Epstein girl's life easier. That seems evil to help out. What the hell are you talking about? What's the matter with you? He what? I'm telling you, stop being stupid and swallowing a media lie, the Democrat Party lies that the media allows them to get away with. Somebody said, nope, I don't have DTS. Well, as soon as you say you don't have it, I'll question you, but go ahead. Let's see what you say. And I agree with many of his policies per se, that he is not a good person. Dear Jesus, come on, man. He's looking only for clarification. He really doesn't give a spit about regular people. I don't see that at all. I don't see it at all. And obviously you didn't listen to what I said. You just didn't. You've got TDS. You've got TDS. Face that fact. Look in the mirror. Face the fact. You've got TDS. Because you didn't even hear what I said. You didn't even hear the explanation. Another, if Trump was as bad as the legacy media made him out to be, how come they tried to get him every way they possibly could, even including creating their own laws to get him, but still couldn't explain that one? I know. Another, call him Hitler and racist, whatever other attention-getting buzzwords they like to use. Those terms have lost their weight with anyone with an IQ. They use those words when they disagree with us, are losing a debate, and have nothing else to say. It's laughable at this point. You know what they say about me? Well, you're using hate speech. And I repeat, just paraphrasing what Harry Truman said. No, 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 no. Just because you hate it and you hate the truth doesn't mean it's hate speech. Huge difference. All right, let's go to Angelo from Madisonville. Angeloots, how are you, my friend?
Buongiorno, molto bene.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm calling to wish you and the Bulldog there happy Thanksgiving, and Lorraine. I'll tell you what, some people are just stuck on stupid. And
I don't understand. Like, you hear one word or you hear Donald Trump. I give a 5-minute explanation, maybe longer, of what I think of Donald Trump. When I was asked, I thought a legitimate question, is Donald Trump a good person? I explain it, and these people with TDS can't even listen.
I think they just like getting you riled up, because when I hear that stuff, I get riled up. So I grab my 6-string guitar and I start playing a little bit.
I don't know how to play the guitar, and I don't have a drum set anymore, so I can't play that.
You better go buy a drum set, because I got the guitar. We could have a new duo called the Dynamic Duo from done there. Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you and I perform together, we could get a big crowd at our first performance.
I don't know about that. Between the people you know and I know, oh my God.
Oh, we'd be jammed for the first performance. After that, they'd say, no, not again.
Yeah, nah, I don't know.
Just my guess. I think you could carry it off. I know I'm mediocre.
I'm mediocre too, but you know what? I'm so happy I can sing now. Because you know what? For years, Frank Sinatra paid me a lot of money to stay out of the business. And,
love it.
Yeah,
well, Angelo, we got to go, but happy Thanksgiving, my friend.
Okay, happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for honoring all the veterans.
We love them. Thank you, Angelo.
Buonanotte.
Buonanotte. Frank from North Scranton, you get to have the tarantella as you come on.
Oh boy. All right, Bob. I am definitely a Trump supporter. I like him, but I don't adore him.
Yes,
And
that's
the
right where
reason
I'm at.
being is none of us are perfect, including Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make a statement. I'm about as Ukrainian as you can get. I went to St. Cyril's Church in Elephant since I was a child. I got baptized there. I went to 8 years of school there. I got married there, and my kids did the same thing. They went to eight years there. But as far as this deal that President Trump is offering to Zelensky, it's going to be, if Zelensky takes this deal, I guarantee you within a year, it's going to be the death of Ukraine.
Well, we don't have much time to really get in depth to it, but I will tell you, the fact that they've accepted it in principle must mean it's not as bad as the media is making it out to be. I've read the points of it, and they're obviously open to interpretation. The key is the security guarantees and the ability to defend themselves that are embedded in with this. Those are the keys, no matter what the other terms are, because they got a bad enemy.
Well,
they have an evil enemy at their doorstep.
So I guess I don't have time to get into it. I hate it.
But let's do this though. Let's have this conversation as it develops. All right. Appreciate it, Frank.
Well,
Happy Thanksgiving, my man. We'll be back 11:50. Picardo says. This date, 1976, Murph tells us the band, they played their farewell concert at the Winterland Ballroom, Santa Francisco. It was filmed by Martin Scorsese and released as a movie, The Last Waltz, in 1978. Murph and I went together with our gang to see this along with, what was that? The Rocky Horror Picture Show down at whatever it was. It's a Center Theater on Lackawanna Avenue. The band consisted of Robbie Robertson, Lee Von Helm, Rick Danko, Garth Hudson, Richard Manuel. They started as Bob Dylan's backup band. Performers at that show, Dylan, Clapton, Ginger Baker, Neil Diamond, Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, Muddy Waters, Neil Young. Murph picked the night they drove Old Dixie down from that amazing performance. Some texts to finish with. Morning, Bob LTS. Some people hated Lincoln in his day. They assassinated him. Now he's revered. Trump will be remembered as great also in the future. Bob LTS, and happy Thanksgiving. I also agree that Trump truly cares for America and our citizens. He's a terrific president, and I trust him. We survived sickening, greedy, and phony talking heads. We need him very much. So many people are just lazy. They want the government to do everything for them. Get smart people. Think for yourselves and the future of the best country on earth. We need to keep strong and put our country first. Another. We all know Trump exaggerates at times, but the difference with him and all other politicians, Trump delivers. The border is a prime example. Now we have 0 border crossings. Yes, 0 with a Z. Hey, Pastor Mitch, I had this before. He says, good day and God bless you. New Hope Church, Wilkes-Barre. Hot, fresh Thanksgiving dinner to go. Available Wednesday at 2 at their location, 489 North Main, and from the public square in Wilkes-Barre as well. First come, first blessed till we run out. Approximately 100 meals. 40 at New Hope, 60 on the square, Pastor Mitch tells us. Pastor Mitch, you remind me tomorrow so we can tell people again tomorrow. He says, wait, so from 20 to 24, president didn't set the prices, but fast forward to 25, now the president controls the prices. I know. The short-sightedness on that part of that journalist, in quotes, question regarding inflation and price of groceries is laughable. Remember what happened, though. Trump says we're going to fix it day one and prices will be going down. Just don't give them the opening with exaggerations. That's what he does. You know that. Well, it's time to go. There's nothing I can do about that because Sue Henry wants to do her thing. Rob O'Donnell's got to do his. But my Bacardo Jeweler watch says it's 12 noon and change. We got to go. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow. But for now, we'll gavel to close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. And Mark Mayer loved listening to that song.